Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
It's time for another batch of hot takes. Oh my God, just like our star ratings, Larson. These hot takes are super hot. Boiling. Look at Larson. Oh my God, you're on fire.
Well, it's just very hot.
Nick Schwark. Dom Mysterio's current character is better than any character work Ray has done in his career.
I don't disagree with that.
Hot take. Yeah, that's actually kind of a cold one if you really think about it, because it's totally true.
When did Ray do his best character work?
I'll be honest. So my personal opinion on that, it might have been, I could think of two times. Number one, when I wasn't watching. Maybe. Like, I feel like maybe around the time, no, with Eddie. Maybe with Eddie. Because he was a good sort of straight guy for Eddie's, comedy.
Yeah.
So I think maybe with Eddie,
The feud with Brock.
not the custody stuff. I'm talking about when they were together.
Yeah, the feud with Brock was pretty good.
I was going to say that was the other one. When Ray started cutting promos that just sort of felt like these days, Ray, he comes off too much like, kind of like Cena at his worst when it comes to like just being boring, inspirational babyface.
Yeah.
Like, he comes off as like Make-A-Wish guy who goes around to hospitals and stuff. You know what I mean? Like in the LWO, he's just sort of inspirational guy and yay for good guys.
Yeah.
But when he talks shit, he's pretty good. He's good.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. Like he never got to a level more than just like, oh, that's a pretty good, surprisingly good promo from Rey Mysterio. Whereas, and part of it is just like what he's been given, which hasn't been very much, but Dom has been given really, really good stuff to work with. And he's really made it even better.
He has. He understands the character and knows the character and is comfortable playing that character and seemingly, gives his all to perform that character, and it shows on TV.
It does. Now, even little things like when Pierce is like, you interfering in all these matches, that's not going to work. And just as a little aside, when Dom says, that wasn't me. When clearly it is.
Yeah.
It's those little things. But yeah, navigating these waters, especially when this storyline, and I know the argument is out there that, or I've seen the argument that this storyline to some, which you and I should cut a video here at Friendo Club just on that topic, Larson, the whole Liv, Dom, workplace, HR violations left and right is deemed offensive by some. That's territory that could get into kind of tricky, dicey stuff.
Absolutely.
That he plays it very, very exactly the way it should be played for the comedy aspect and to keep the power dynamics in the appropriate places so that it is a story that, from my point of view, is appropriate and entertaining to tell.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyways, cold take right there. Oh, this one right here, this might be a hot take. And this could have been the thumbnail. So here's a little suggestion for people. If you want to make the thumbnail, your hot take really needs to be boiled down to your opening sentence.
Yes.
Because if you drop a hot take, even if it's a really good one,
if it's like an essay,
you can't put that on the thumbnail. Your thesis, any good thesis, Larson, can be boiled down to one sentence. Correct?
Sentence. We can't put a whole paragraph on the thumbnail. It doesn't work that way.
Right, exactly. This is thumbnail worthy. Nicholas Grosskirth says, the way Solo is disrespected by fans is very similar to the way the big dog was disrespected. Fans are going to be shocked after SummerSlam when Solo has actual material to work with. We've seen what he's capable of in NXT.
I mean, I don't know if it's a direct one-to-one correlation between, the fans were dumping on Roman for a different reason they're dumping on Solo.
Sure.
And I don't feel like it's anywhere near the same degree. The heat that Solo is getting at shows in the arenas is, boo, you're beating up Cody. Is it different on social media? Maybe. That's such a small portion of the fan base,
Okay.
Whereas fans in the arena, Roman was a good guy. He was getting booed because the audience or a chunk of them were feeling like this guy is getting shoved down our throats, and we're reacting to that. We don't want that. If you want to get him over organically and naturally, so we can get behind him. Don't shove him down our throat.
So, I agree that it's. I'll put it this way. I don't think it's apples and oranges, because you're kind of saying apples and oranges. I think it's like Red Delicious and Fuji. I do kind of think that there are some parallels here. I think the crowd is like WWE has anointed you like to be the guy to run in this high profile spot when we're not really feeling it. I think that there's a portion of the crowd that's given that vibe.
He's not ready for this position. That's part of the story.
That's like a real tightrope to follow, though, right? Like, that's the story, but it's also kind of true. Like at that point, how do you say one versus the other? And honestly, I'm maybe dropping this out of the sake of conversation, right?
Yeah.
I can kind of see how it's not quite apples and oranges, but it's obviously not at the same level as Roman Reigns. I 1,000% agree with you there. We can both agree on this, though. He did some really good work in NXT.
Oh, yeah.
And I absolutely 1,000% agree that fans, I think that Solo is going to turn in some really, really good work once Roman does come back. I think what they do with the bad bloodline, once Roman's there, and maybe even throw your L's up for the final boss, when we get to understand if he's a part of this, as my theory says.
Well, I mean, I think that's something we've both talked about for a while. Yeah.
I think it's a distinct possibility. I think you agree. Once that kicks into full gear, I think we're going to really see, not at full gear.
Oh, all right.
Not at full gear.
Is there something you know that I don't know?
November Survivor Series, yes. Full gear, no. Once it goes into that realm, once we've seen a revolution happen with Solo Sikoa, not the AEW pay-per-view revolution.
What you're saying, if The Rock shows that he's in Double or Nothing with the whole final boss thing.
Not the AEW pay-per-view Double or Nothing. Once Rock shows he is all in at Wembley Stadium, not the AEW pay-per-view. Sorry.
If he's going to show this bad bloodline as a new dynasty in professional wrestling,
goodness. Steve. When Solo shows that it's his wrestle dream. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah, I think Solo's going to be dropping some really, really good stuff. Once you get, even maybe like Jacob Fatu wanting a little bigger piece of the action, I think that's going to be some really good stuff too, as it pertains to Solo. I think you're right, Gross Kurth. I think that we're going to see some really good stuff, and I think fans who are right now photoshopping the McDonald's hats on the bad bloodline, I think that's going to stop. That's going to stop.
I think
but
so,
maybe I could see some parallels between Solo and Roman when he was getting booed. Couple here. Let's see here. Ocean Osborne, what a great name, says, the best thing to happen for Los Angeles Night was Max DUPRI. Without him becoming Max, there wouldn't have been as much groundswell support for him, since people wouldn't have seen him as trapped in a gimmick or held down by the Fed. He would still be popular, but not a pop of the night level popular. You agree with that?
I don't know.
Max DUPRI helped LA Knight?
I feel like if he'd come up to the main roster as LA Knight, here's the thing. Basically everywhere Eli Drake, LA Knight has been, he's gotten himself over. Whether he was kind of hamstrung with a bad gimmick or not, he shows up, he gets himself over. Happens everywhere. I'm sure he came to NXT to be a depth guy.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Got himself enormously over.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously call up the main roster, not even be a wrestler, be a talker, be a manager, and basically stripped of everything that made him LA Knight.
Yeah, right.
Once he got back around being LA Knight, to steal the catchphrase from Trevor Lee, to the moon. It was upwards and onwards at an alarmingly fast rate. He got super over super quick. Here's the thing. I don't know how many people... Obviously, NXT doesn't have the viewership of any main roster show. Mm-hmm. Much less NWA or TNA Impact, where he was prior to coming to WWE.
Right, yeah, right.
So I just don't know what portion of the WWE fan base was really familiar with his work prior to Max DUPRI and therefore would feel like, Why are they having this guy be Max DUPRI? He's capable of so much more.
I'll boil this down. This is very simple for me. I disagree with this hot take, and I'll tell you why. This is very easy. Number one, that last point that you made, you took the scenic route there, but I think you're right. When he was Max DUPRI, you did not hear like LA Knight chants in the crowd.
No.
There might have been a smattering of them, but it's not like this was a movement. Number two, once he wasn't Max DUPRI anymore and he was LA Knight, he was not getting the reaction because the crowd had not seen what LA Knight can do. And I think that's evidence to suggest that you're right. The crowd that was in NXT that liked LA Knight, they weren't really translating to main roster. So no, you can actually see when he became LA Knight, guys like you and I were pretty excited, but like the general crowd, they weren't there yet. You can actually see that on the episodes.
Yeah.
It was when they saw what he could do as a bad guy, which is he's much more suited as a bad guy.
Oh, he's way more entertaining as a bad guy.
Yeah, his promo with Paul this week was just kind of snooze fest. You can tell he's just trying to remember what to say. And so yeah, no, the crowd loves him. The crowd's always going to love him, but it was a path for him after Max DUPRI. I don't think Max DUPRI helped him at all. I really don't.
I don't think I helped him. No.
All right. Let's see here. What else do we have? Oh, I don't know about this one. Art Fracture says Pierce and Christopher Daniels could swap shows and I wouldn't even notice. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Adam Pearce has not the level of gravitas that Nick Aldis has.
Wow.
But when Adam Pearce speaks, I pay attention.
There's like a bald bias there, man. What the heck?
And when Christopher Daniels speaks, I'm like, why is he not wrestling?
Like, where's his bad eye? I want him to bring the bad eye back.
Yeah, where's the bad eye back? You know, it's. But part of that is Adam Pearce has been in an authority role in WWE for a number of years, so like he's earned that spot in me, the eye of the viewer, whereas Christopher Daniels hasn't yet.
Yeah, Daniels is like not really around that much.
No.
And it's like we all know that like in kayfabe, Tony Khan is still running things and the Young Bucks are still bosses. And so it's like, why is Christopher Daniels, why does he have any authority to do anything? It's still kind of confusing to me. I know they explained it once.
And then he comes out and makes bad decisions like stripping Bang Bang Gang of the six-man titles.
Yeah, he just makes bad decisions. Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
I don't respect his decisions, therefore do not respect his authority. I can definitely tell a difference between Adam Pearce.
Hard agree. E. David Bruce here with a hot take says wrestlers should win with their finishers less.
Oh, I agree with that.
I 1,000% agree with that, but I can understand why wrestlers would, to a degree, equate. You know, everybody wants their finisher to be the RKO. You can't take that away from Randy. That I wouldn't change. You can't change that.
But how about if Randy occasionally won a match with the punt?
Yeah, that's kind of different. That is kind of different. Yeah, the punt's awesome. The punt's pretty great. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. Rad Shord 89-ish says, Jey Uso should stay on Raw away from the Bloodline shenanigans and continue to build his singles career, and Jimmy Uso should begin his journey to singles championship when he returns to SmackDown. So basically, Rad is saying no Usos involved with bad Bloodline storyline or Bloodline storyline at all.
Hard disagree.
That being said, when all is said and done, I don't want them to be a tag team again.
No, not for a while.
Yeet.
No. Yeet.
All right, this one I'm just gonna throw to you because I'm kind of you're the chops guy around here.
Oh, chops are the best.
John in Alistair voice says, overhand chops are better than the standard chop.
So here's the thing. I feel like an overhand chop, whoop-ha. You can get, and this is no disrespect to Walter, because obviously he gets a lot of torque on those standard chops. Overhand chops, I just feel like from a mechanical standpoint, are easier to get more force behind them.
Yeah, right.
You know, because this is kind of an awkward movement, the side, you know, doing the chop to the side, whereas this, whoosh, like if you've thrown a ball, whoosh, you know that movement. It feels more natural. I mean, that's because of me, just me, because I played baseball my life, you know. So a throwing motion, overhand chop motion feels very natural, whereas the knife edge chop motion feels a little weird.
Okay, sure.
But I'm just not used to it. If I was used to it, it might be different.
Okay.
But I feel like, you know, you step forward, you step into your chop, you do a huge overhand chop, and you hit it right, that's instant handprint across the chest for most. I mean, obviously, Gunther, and he chops handprint chop opportunity.
So you agree overhand chop better than regular chop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
Yeah, I can see that take. But I feel like most chops, most epic, like iconic chops, I think those like get more play than overhead chops. I don't know why.
I agree, because I think in theory, mechanically, it's easier to get a massive chop overhand. But if you could do the knife edge chop and get the loud crack, it's more impressive because it seems like a harder thing to pull off.
I love the crack.
Oh yeah, the crack's the best thing.
Crack is awesome. Doom. Okay, so we're gonna end on this one.
All right.
But I'm taking this from my side gig, Wrestle Juice. But it's pertinent to us.
All right, very well.
And in fact, this hot take on the Wrestle Juice thread has nothing to do with Wrestle Juice. This hot take is this. Friendo Club is better than Going in Raw.
Interesting.
So right here, this channel is better than us other guys.
I mean, here's the thing. I look at this. I'm a glass half full type guy on this argument. I'm happy that someone is a fan of the shorter form content over at Friendo Club, because sometimes you put stuff out. I don't know how
here. You gotta say here at Friendo Club.
Here at Friendo Club. Yeah, here at Friendo Club. Sometimes you put stuff out. I don't know how it's going to do.
Yeah, right.
So you get 5,000 and get 12. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's good to know people watch Friendo Club Wrestling for Friendo Club Wrestling, and not just because they also watch Going in Raw.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I really like we're sort of in negotiations right now, restructuring our schedule, but I really I think that it would be wise for us to focus a little bit more of our energies right here at Friendo Club. So Larson has agreed to a 1 week contract where this week he's going to try to make it to the house so we can do more of that in-person content.
Yeah,
I like the in-person.
Let's do it like as early as we can on Friday, so we get some balling in afterwards, and then I got stuff I got to do after that. So yeah.
All right. That sounds good.
I'll
you
be
got
there
your
at
own
6 a.m. 6 a.m. sharp.
You got your own side gig you got coming up too. You're gonna do that. It's a little bit of that on Friday.
Oh, you're talking about?
Well, you just said you got other stuff to do on Friday.
Oh no, I got to help my parents out with some stuff in the late afternoon.
Your parents got a side gig going on?
No.
Passive income.
Not really.
YouTube
no, they're not,
channel.
They're not landlords. They're not landlords or anything like that. That's what you're talking about.
A new reality show, Larson and his parents.
Oh gosh.